Hi, how are you doing today? Welcome to my office. I am really excited to join you today and to talk about something that I really think is awesome. And that is about we humans being perfectly imperfect. Now, as humans, imperfect, we like to wake up feeling energized and alive. We like to feel energy. We like to sleep well. We like to feel calm and peaceful. We like to be able to eat and enjoy life. We like to be at our perfect weight and to feel good. But it's not always that way, is it? Sometimes, or most of the time for some people, wake up tired, lack of energy, lack of sleep, anxiety, depression, worry, stress, cravings, addiction, weight gain. And when we feel that way, we go out looking for something to make us feel better. I'm so glad you joined me on this journey. We're going to have a great time. And I'm excited to share with you what I've learned and why what I'm doing is making a huge difference. My name is Shelley Jo Wallstrom. I am a certified hypnotherapist and a certified addiction recovery and mental health nutrition coach, also known as the Amino Acid Lady and hypnotherapist. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. First of all, my disclaimer is I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, and I don't prescribe. What you're going to find, though, by listening to this story is that there are some great things out there that you may not even think about. That might be your missing link to why you struggle, or your children struggle, or your husband or your teenagers struggle. My business is called Feed Your Brain, Change Your Life. It's kind of like a three-legged stool. You've all seen a three-legged stool, right? And all three legs have to be strong for that stool to stand. If one of them doesn't work right, it's not going to stand, no matter what, correct? Well, it's like our bodies. We have our brain, and I'm talking about like the gland brain. We have our bodies, and we have our thoughts. When all three of those are working in alignment together and are healthy, we have optimal health. But when one of those aren't working well, then we struggle, and we look for ways to feel better. I hope I got your attention here a little bit. Feed your brain with amino acids. Feed your body with nutrition, and feed and change your thoughts through hypnotherapy. What I bring you to today is hope and healing in a natural way that you may not even be aware of. So let's get started. The first step is hypnotherapy. That's the first leg. And why hypnotherapy? Now, a lot of times I'll ask people what they think of hypnosis, and they have seen a show, and they'll say, oh gosh, that's when you are going to put me on stage and you're going to make me walk around and act like a chicken. Or you're going to control me, or you're going to read my mind. Well, what I like to say is, if I could have controlled anybody's minds, I would have controlled my 3 daughters when they were teenagers. This was craziness when my teenagers were little, right? It's not about mind control. It's not about reading anybody's mind. In fact, when you're in hypnosis, you're actually more focused on something than at any other time, so that anything that's around you or out away from you, you're not very focused. So if I asked you this question, have you ever driven somewhere and you get there and you go, I do not remember how I got here? You know that feeling? That's the first level of hypnosis. And that's because you're not focused on what's going on. That's why when you feel that way and you wonder why somebody could be in their phone and they're so mesmerized that they're not even hear cars around them or anything like that, it's because you can become so focused on something in the back of your head that you're not focused on what's going on out here. Okay, it's scientifically proven. It's that feeling that, you go, as you're going to sleep at night, you're like, oh my gosh, this feels so relaxing. That's where your mind is still awake, but your body is really heavy. And you're just like, this is so wonderful, so peaceful. And next thing you know, you're asleep. And then the next morning you wake up on your own and the alarm, without the alarm, and you're just laying there going, man, I could just enjoy this some more forever. And then next thing you know, you're awake. That is what it feels like. So, what is it? What is this mystery of hypnosis? Well, we all have what's called a conscious brain. And that is about 10% of your thought processes. And that's the same for everybody. That's I'm going to get up. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to go to work. It's your willpower. It's your drive. And we all have that same capacity. 85% is your subconscious. And that's different for all of us. That's every memory and emotion that you have from here all the way back to forever. It's also called your spirit, or it's called your soul. That looks different for everybody. Now, you've all been around children. I'm going to assume that everybody's been around children, right? Little tiny children. And little children believe everything as truth, correct? But not everything that they learn is true, right? Well, our subconscious also believes everything as truth, but it may not always be, right? The challenge comes is that your subconscious job is also to keep you safe and protected. So now you can see that there's a problem when your subconscious is keeping you safe and protected from something that is not real. And, what do I mean by that? Well, let's take, for example, a little child. Let's say there's a little child and he's watching a movie with his parents, and the movie's about a plane crash. Now, as parents, they know that this is just for entertainment. Those are just actor and actresses. The plane crash is over. It's all done. It's not real. Well, that little child doesn't quite see it that way. And so they take that information, they watch it, and they go, oh, wait a minute. Planes are dangerous. They crash, people die. I'm not getting an airplane. But that little story goes down in their subconscious and they forget about it. And then they get to be 18 and mom and dad's like, hey, we're going to go on a trip to Hawaii for graduation. And they're like, great. How are we going to get there? Airplane. Nope. Not going. What do you mean not going? Who wouldn't want to go to Hawaii? So consciously, they could say to themselves, or their parents could say, you know what? That's crazy. 99.9999% of the time, planes get to where they're going to go very safely. And you really can't enjoy this amazing country or world without getting an airplane. But because the subconscious job is to keep you safe and protected, and it's already decided that being on an airplane isn't safe, well, guess which one always wins? You're right. Subconscious always wins. Okay? So here's a fun story I like to tell. A couple months ago, I was at church, and this doesn't have anything to do with religion or anything like that, so bear with me. Hang in here. I just think it's a really fun story. And I actually had this dress on, and I was in the bathroom getting my hair fixed, and my mirror had been broken, so I couldn't see what the back of my hair looked like. So I was just hoping that my hair looked good, because a couple times a month in my church, I get up and I lead the music to the congregation. So I wanted to make sure it looked good. Well, I left assuming that my hair looked great. I walk in the church and I walk up to the stand, and my friend comes up to me and she whispers in my ear, "You have a hole in your dress." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You have a hole in your dress." I'm like, "Really?" Well, in the back of this dress, I had a hole that was this big. And I went into that little bit of a panic that's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I started feeling that panic that's like, oh, I can't stand up in front of everybody with this big hole in my dress. I mean, how am I going to leave the church when I'm done? And my friend looked at me, she's like, you know what? It's okay. When you get all done, just wait till everybody leaves, they go to class, and then you just sneak out. I'm like, I could do that. Okay. Another thing that you need to know is, first of all, I get up and lead the music. I love to sing. I love the hymns and I love to sing. The one thing that I'm not really good at most of the times is looking to see which songs have been chosen for that day. I just kind of shoot from the hip and I think, you know what? I can wing it. I can wing about anything. I understand 4x4, 2. I understand counts and music. I can handle it. Well, I get up to teach, to lead the song, this first song. I open the book and I look at it and I feel this panic. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know this song. And I'm looking at the music, and I'm looking at the piano, the organist, and I'm looking at the congregation, and I go into this panic of, I don't know what I'm doing. And she starts playing the song, and I'm really in panic because I'm like, I've never heard this song before. And I couldn't figure out how to lead, and I'm in this panic mode, and luckily there was another pianist in the back of the chapel who sat there and started leading for me, and I'm like, thank you. That's kind of what I whispered to her. And I started leading, and I felt this panic. So I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. I now have a dress that has a big hole in it, and I've just got up and made a fool of myself because I did not prepare. I didn't know what I was doing. Well, all of a sudden, those false thoughts start coming to me. And what you say to yourself is more powerful than what anybody else can say to you. So I'm getting this negative story that, oh my gosh, this was so stupid. Why wouldn't I prepare? I am so embarrassed. I need to just leave and get out of here. But then I'm like, wait a minute. No. I'm also a hypnotherapist. And I understand when you take those stories and you allow them to go inside that they can grow. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow myself to grow this false story when I'm just being perfectly human. So once a month, we get to stand up in our religion and express our gratitude and our love and our beliefs. So I decided that, you know what, if I'm going to get through this, I'm going to stand up and make a statement. So I get up and I start to tell them my story and how I was so worried about my hair that I didn't look and see that I have a big hole in the back of my dress. And then I get up and I start leading a song that I don't know what I'm doing. And what came to me was, you know what? I'm not asked to be the chorister because I'm a professional chorister. I'm asked to be the chorister because I'll show up. All I'm being asked to do is show up. Show up for my life, show up, and do the best job I can. Isn't that what we're all asked to do? Well, once I got through that, I felt much better. And I thought, you know what? I got done with church. I can just walk right down the aisle. Well, one of my friends came up to me and he says, I thought about what you said about the hair and the dress. And he said, it came to me really strongly that sometimes we're so focused on this little thing up here that we don't even see or acknowledge the big thing that really is causing us a problem. That's what I want you to see is, what is it in your life that it's easy to accept this up here, but we're going to push aside really the big problem. And working through hypnosis can get through those because, have you ever had those feelings where you, something comes up, a little trigger, and you go, oh, I don't want to deal with that. That makes me sad or mad or angry or whatever. So I'm just going to stuff those emotions. Something else comes up, nope, don't want to deal with that. That makes me sad, angry, frustrated, whatever. So we just keep stuffing them. We stuff until we stuff so much that something really tiny happens. Maybe our children say something to us, or our spouse, or somebody pulls out in front of us, and we have this big explosion. And we have this little tiny event and this humongous explosion, and there's no even connection to it. And then you wonder why did I blow up? Well, when we're not acknowledging our emotions, we just stuff them and we stuff them. What's going on there? Well, what's going on is that we all have triggers in our life. We all have things that when we look back over our life, we go, oh, that happened to us. That makes me sad or mad or angry or whatever. But I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with that, right? And so we just stuff it. And, it's not the memory that's a problem. It's the emotion attached to it. Because when that trigger comes up, and that we remember that memory, it's the emotion that makes it feel like it just happened yesterday. That's not to downplay what people go through, because there are a lot of people who are really, really struggling, and I've heard some really hard stories. What it does, though, is that in hypnosis, what we want to do is we desensitize the memory from the emotion, so it becomes just another memory. Like I said, I don't downplay what people have been through, but then what it does is then we can look back over our life and go, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, this, up to today. And as hard as some of this stuff was, it made me who I am today. But I'm no longer carrying all that with me anymore. And that's how powerful hypnosis is. The one thing I want to give you, a tip that I can give you today while we're in this class, is to breathe. Learning to breathe is so important. Now, if I ask you to take a deep breath, right? You may go and breathe up here. And it's called a fight or flight breath. It's very, very shallow. Now, if I asked you to put your hand on your tummy right here and think of your favorite color and your favorite color balloon. So I want you to pretend like you have a balloon in your tummy right here. And I just want you to focus in on that breathing right here. And you breathe deep like this. Right here. So this is a deep diaphragmatic breathing. A lot of times I'll tell people to take a deep breath, and it's all up here. And that's a fight or flight breath. It's very, very shallow. And when you feel that way, what happens is you go into this panic. And if you feel anxiety, depression at all, it makes it worse, because it causes your lungs to constrict. Because when you breathe in that fight or flight breath, it causes you to hold on to not be able to release carbon monoxide. So when you're not able to release carbon monoxide, it causes your lungs to constrict, which causes your chest to constrict, which causes your extremities to constrict. And some people end up going to the hospital feeling like they're having a heart attack, and what they're having is a panic attack. And it's just because physiologically they're not able to get the carbon monoxide out of their lungs, and it's very, very hard to breathe. Breathing diaphragmically engages the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is your biggest nerve in your central nervous system. It's actually in charge of your rest and your digest. So it has really two major parts of your body. Sometimes it gets shut off because we've lived in this stress, this fight or flight for so long that we're not able to teach our body to relax. So by doing that, by breathing diaphragmically, it allows your body to start relaxing naturally. Now, if you're not used to breathing that way, it can feel very uncomfortable. But as you allow your body to start relaxing and getting used to it, feeling this area down here, you'll find yourself be able to relax easier. You can also teach your body to do the same thing by gargling every day and by humming like every single day. By getting that vagus nerve to start engaging again, it actually helps you if you are somebody who struggles with digestion or some weight loss. It helps you so that it gets your body to be able to digest naturally. It's powerful. Now, hypnosis can be used for many different things. I've used it with somebody who's becoming an RN who was struggling to pass their tests. They kept taking their tests, the practice ones, and they kept failing, and they were in this panic. So in hypnosis, we were able to get them to remember that, you know what, they already know the information, and to get them to be able to calm down and to be able to get them to take the test. And because of that, they were able to pass it. So it can be used to take tests at school. So for students, it can be used to calm your anxiousness. It can help, get rid of things that you've been carrying on from the past. Changing those thoughts. Changing the way you feel. To be able to begin and change new stories and new thoughts. And it's powerful. I had a baseball player who was super awesome. And for whatever reason, he was in high school, and he had got to the point where he was afraid of the ball. Well, if you have this ball coming at you at 90 miles an hour, that is not a good time for you to become afraid of this ball. So what happened is he'd get up to play baseball, and he'd been playing it for years, 6 years, and he would react. So the ball would come at him and he'd react rather than go to hit the ball, and he kept missing the ball and he kept having these problems. Well, through hypnosis, we were able to get him to realize that his body already knows how to play baseball, and to be able to release all that mind chatter that was telling him that he was going to get hit by the ball. His mom called me and said, very first time after having hypnosis, he hit 2 home runs and was able to catch the last ball and win the game. It's incredible. It does amazing things for you, and it makes a difference. That's what hypnosis is. It's getting your conscious and your subconscious in alignment, so to get rid of that mind chatter, so you can start changing those stories and moving forward into really what it is you like to do. We'll move out of hypnosis, which is the first leg, and we're going to move into amino acids therapy. That's the second leg. I love hypnosis. I've seen great things happen with it. I am passionate about amino acids. Why? Because this is my story. This is my journey in my life. You see these cute people here? Well, first of all, these 2 are my granddaughters. Aren't they cute? As a grandma, I got to show them off, right? Now, this one, her mom always says to her, Brooklyn, I want you to say, I am smart, I am beautiful, and I am awesome. Now, this one, her name is Harper, and she's like, yay, life is fabulous. She lives in this, she'll call me, she's like, hi, Grandma, and it's always this wonderful, excited about life. And I just love it because I'm thinking, what if we were a little bit more like these little guys? What if we were a little bit, what if every day we woke up and went, woohoo, it's another day. You know, the sky's awake, so I'm awake, so we have to play. These down here are my children when they were little. So I have 3 daughters, and they are so awesome. These 2 were super, super easy. I don't know if you have ever felt that way, where you've got 2 or a couple who are so easy that, you know, it made being a mom look really easy to me. I'm thinking, you know, I'm a really good mom. I still think I am. It's just that back then that was so easy. I'm like, I am, you know what? I got this thing down. I got 2 little girls, got my husband, you know what? We got this figured out. We're going to have 1 more. So we had this beautiful one down here. And, you know, when I had her, I knew she was my last, so I sit and hold her, and I just love it. And one day I got this feeling that said, you know what? Actually, it was like a voice came to me and said, this one is going to teach you more about life than you'll ever have learned before. She can try you more than you've ever thought you could experience. But you're going to learn so much from this. And I was like, first I looked around thinking, all right, who's talking to me? And second of all, how could this beautiful little baby cause me anything but joy? Well, she, at age 6, was diagnosed with anxiety. Had I understood what an empath was back then, I'd also understood that she was very empathic, meaning she takes on other people's energy. So she doesn't like to be around crowds, even if it's positive. When anything new was coming, it was like a big deal. And it didn't make sense to me because these 2 were so easy. I'm like, I don't get why this is so hard. Well, at age 6, she was diagnosed with anxiety. I did what all moms did at the time. I went and got her on some meds. And, you know, the counselor said, all it is a chemical imbalance. Get her on some meds and she'll be great. Well, it helped a little bit, but not all the way. So we struggled trying to find her the best help I could. As a mom, I thought, you know, I'm failing. I don't know how to help her. At age 15, she came to me and said, Mom, I am tired of being a doctor's science project. I want to feel normal. And it broke my heart because I'm like, I am her mother. Why can't I figure something out to help her? Because the hard thing about that is my beautiful daughter turned to drugs and alcohol at age 15. And it was so hard because I didn't know how to help her. I watched this beautiful, vibrant, talented girl in junior high turn and shrivel into nothing as she graduated, went through high school and barely graduated because she turned to alcohol and marijuana. And for the first time in her life, she felt normal. And I felt sad because as her mom, I didn't know how to help her. I knew nothing about the world of addiction. And I thought, well, I could love her enough, or I could ground her enough. And nothing seemed to help. And I just felt like I was losing my daughter. When she finally graduated, which I always say, you know, she and I graduated because I should have had my name on the diploma. You know, it should have said mom and daughter. If you guys understand what I'm talking about, right? But we got her through it. And I'm like, okay, we're going to put her in a rehab center. And that way, she's going to come out better because she'll be without it. Well, we put her in one that was not a good rehab center. She went from addicted to alcohol and marijuana to being addicted to sugar and caffeine and tobacco. She came out clean for 30 days. And I'm like, yes, we spent $13,000. She's all better. This will be fabulous. We'll just move on. Well, within 30 days, she had met up with her roommate that she had met in rehab, who had introduced her to meth. And meth is a drug of the devil. It changes every part of you. And I was losing my daughter. I didn't know how to help her. I was afraid. I was very, codependent. I became very codependent because I wanted to save her because I was in this fear that every time she'd leave, she was either going to kill somebody, kill herself, or end up in jail. And I'd watch my phone and I'd see that she was going down to the homeless shelter, and she was there. She was the one that would go get the drugs, and then she would go around and take them around, and that was how she was getting her drugs. And I was in so much fear all the time. I got that phone call. She ended up in jail. In fact, she ended up in jail 4 times. The second one, I actually had to put her there, which was the hardest thing ever. As a parent, I didn't know how to help her. And when somebody's on meth, it is so scary. I didn't feel safe. And she was threatening me, and I actually had to call the cops on her and have her put in jail, which was the hardest thing I ever did. The crazy thing is, she'd get out of jail, and I'd think, this is it. Because if I ever went to jail, I'd never have to go there again. And yet, she'd get out of jail, she'd stay sober for a little bit, then she'd start to fall down, and she'd relapse, and then we'd end up on the same cycle. And it didn't make any sense to me. And I was so afraid because I thought, I'm going to lose my daughter. I started praying. And I said, you know what? Heavenly Father, please give me an answer. Because if not, I'm going to lose my daughter. There ended up being this show on Get Part. There's a guy in Utah who puts on a show named Get Part. And it's like a consumer story show. And he did one on how they were using amino acids in rehab centers. And what would happen is they would give large doses of amino acids through an IV. And within 3 days, their cravings started to go away. And within 10 days, they were almost completely gone. They had an 85% rate of recovery, which, if you know anything about the addiction world, That's phenomenal. And I thought, you know what? That's my answer. Well, it's $1,000 a day. That's a lot, but if that's my only answer, that's what I'll do. But I thought, you know what? I know there are amino acids that you can get in supplement form. I'll just go to the store and I'll buy a whole bunch of amino acids, give my daughter large doses of amino acids through supplement form, and then she'll be all better. Made sense to me. Well, luckily, I had a son-in-law who, he's a nurse, and I called him and said, okay, I'm going to give her all these amino acids. Tell me what to give her. And he's like, well, you know what? You can't just throw amino acids at people. You need to understand how they work. It's like, well, you know what? That's really good information. Well, I Googled and I found a recovery center in Florida. And I called them. I said, look, I know you guys are using amino acid supplements rather than an IV. Please help me out and tell me what I need to do. I have a daughter who's an addict. I also have clients as hypnotherapists who they had the desire to make a difference in their lives, and yet they'd come, I'd work with them, they'd leave, I'd think, yes, we made a difference. Then they'd come back the next week, and it was like 51st dates, and I'm thinking, something is missing in here. Why are they not able to make these changes and solidify them? So I said, please help me. And he said to me, you know what? I give you everything that you need to know about amino acids, but in 2 weeks, we're having a training in Salt Lake on amino acid therapy, and you're going to learn everything you need to know. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my answer. What I learned there changed my life, and it changed my daughter's life. This is her before picture without amino acids. This is the after picture. And now you can see why I am so passionate about amino acid therapy. Is because it changed her life and it changed my life. Now, if I asked you though, you might be thinking here, oh my gosh, well, it's only for addicts. Well, it's not. If I asked you, and if you answered this, if you have any addictions. So mine was sugar and Diet Coke. If I asked you, do you struggle with stress? How about anxiety? How about depression? How about lack of sleep? Lack of energy? What about obsessive thoughts? Racing thoughts? How about focus? How about addiction? How about cravings? How about weight gain? What I realized is that the addiction population was this much, but there's so many other people who aren't the typical addict or even an addict at all, but just struggling to feel good, struggling, like I said, to live this imperfectly perfect life and just don't feel good. That could be children. That could be teenagers. That could be adults. And I realized that, wait a minute, if this can help an addict, wow, who else can this help? And that's when my journey exploded. So what am I talking about here? Well, in your brain, you have 4 neurotransmitters: dopamine, serotonin, GABA, and endorphins. Those are your happy, calm, feel-good chemicals. When they're working the way they're supposed to, you feel calm, you feel relaxed, energy, be able to sleep, be able to eat without cravings, be able to keep your weight the way that you want it. When they become depleted, and they can become depleted for many different reasons. So it's not like you say, well, I did this and this is why. Your neurotransmitters become depleted because it could be genetics, could be that 60% of people over the age of 40 become depleted, could be lifestyle, could be stress, could be the fact that we're just those imperfectly perfect humans that sometimes things just quit working the way they're supposed to. But when they do, anxiety, depression, lack of energy, lack of sleep, all those symptoms can become real. Now, if you've already filled out my code that I encourage you to do before class, then you may have an idea of already whether amino acids are going to be your missing link. In that code, it's going to ask you some questions to answer, some codes to see if, you know what, these symptoms, these are the specific symptoms. There are specific cravings for each one of them, and it kind of gives you an idea of which one of those you could use. Now, if you haven't, this would be a good time to maybe stop this, pause it for a minute, go online, hurry and do the quiz. It's not very long, it's not very hard. That way you have an idea of, oh wow, I think I could fit in here, or maybe my child or somebody I love. But what is it? Well, I said those 4 neurotransmitters, okay? There are specific amino acids, and amino acids are just the building blocks of protein. You either get it from your food or you create it in your body, one or the other. Some are essential, some are non-essential. But there are specific amino acids that actually go in and help to build up those neurotransmitters so that your brain starts doing what it's supposed to. It starts firing again, and they're not meant to be on forever. You can, they're not going to hurt you, but the whole idea is to take them, enough of them, that you can raise those neurotransmitters and let your brain start doing what it's supposed to. And then you're either going to come off of them completely or be on a less amount. I said earlier, I'm not a doctor, I don't prescribe, I don't diagnose. I do know that as you start getting on the amino acids, and if you're on other meds, you can work on them together as long as you're working, or you can take them together as long as you're working with a doctor, and so that you can start to increase the amino acids and slowly come down off of the meds, working with your doctor. You can either get them to the lower or go off of them, but I'm not going to tell you to do that. That's something you got to do and work with your husband, not your husband, sorry, your doctor. All right, so let's get through this. All right, first one is the dopamine. So we talked about dopamine is your energy, it's your drive, it's your willpower. When your dopamine is high, that's what you feel. When your dopamine is low, you're going to crave something for stimulation, which would be coffee, caffeine, could be sugar, starches. It could be, if it's a drug, it would be meth or cocaine. The meds that you'll get on from your doctor would be Adderall, something like that, because you're looking for something to get you going. Okay, that's what it feels like. This one was my story because I am a sugar addict. And when I went to that class, at that time, I was exhausted. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm thinking, how am I going to get through this class until 5 o'clock at night? All I want to do was a nap, get some good putties, and Diet Coke. And the instructor said to take some tyrosine. Tyrosine is an energy booster. The one I have looks like this, okay? I don't know if you can see that, but tyrosine is an energy booster. It's a sustained energy, so it doesn't make you spike and drop like sugar or caffeine. It makes you feel like you're just alive. So I took one, and within 10 minutes, I thought to myself, okay, is this like a placebo effect, or am I really feeling this? And then the instructor said, if you're not quite sure, take another one. So I took another one, and within that next 20 minutes, all of a sudden I had energy, my cravings were gone, and I'm thinking, what is this? So I took 2 home to my daughter, and I said, okay, I want you to take 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, and let me know how you feel. Well, I get home that night, and I said, okay, how'd you feel? She's like, I felt jittery, and I'm like, dang it. That means that you're very sensitive to it. And I was almost bummed because I'm like, I got 1 shot to make this right. Well, the next morning she came to me and said, Mom, can you give me one of those energy pills? And I said, well, wait a minute. You said that they make you feel jittery. And she's like, well, that's because I took 2 of them at the same time with 3 cups of coffee. And I was just like, ah. But I was so excited because all of a sudden she started to feel a difference. Because, see, the cool thing about amino acids is First of all, they're inexpensive. Second of all, they're easily accessible, and if your body needs them, you're going to feel a difference in 20 minutes or less. So you don't have to wait very long to get them to work. That was exciting to me. The next one is a 5-HTP and is your serotonin. So serotonin, when it's right, you feel positive mind, flexible. When it's not working, anxiety, depression, OCD, racing thoughts, panic, fear, those things become real, suicidal thoughts. It's also where winter blues comes in. And I think, as somebody who studied this, I'm not going to say for sure because like I said, I don't know. But what happens is serotonin follows the light, and I live in Utah, and so a lot of people get winter blues because it follows the light, and we don't get outside because it's cold, and then the nights are so long and the days are short, and so it causes this winter blues because our serotonin drops. Well, when that happens, and like I said, those are the symptoms, are the panic and the fear and things like that. Well, with this whole issue that we're all going through right now, we're just coming out of winter. So a lot of people's serotonin is low. So now with this scare, it causes everybody to go in, a lot of people to go into this panic because their serotonin is low because they've just come out of winter. So there's a couple of things that you can take to help you. One is called 5-HTP. It's positive mind. The other one is called tryptophan, positive sleep. By taking those, what it's going to do is the serotonin, it converts the serotonin, which gives you that positive feeling, and then it also converts to melatonin, which allows you to sleep. GABA is one of my very favorite. See, GABA in your brain gives you that relaxed feeling. But when you don't have your GABA and it's not working right, you have that uptight, overstressed, can't come down, not in your stomach, want to bite somebody's head off. That's what that feels like. And so when that happens, you physically feel that you can't calm down. Now, I forgot to tell you that serotonin is where the racing thoughts. The cravings for serotonin would be afternoon and evening cravings, sugar, starches, alcohol. That's why we have that. That's why there's happy hour. That's after 4 o'clock at night, because when the serotonin is low, people who like to drink, they're going to go out and get some alcohol because that's when they're craving it. It could also be marijuana, things like that. GABA, when your GABA is low, you crave something to calm you down, to relax you. That could be, when you're feeling that way, somebody, maybe they'll turn to a Xanax or to a Valium or a Klonopin or something like that that's going to physically calm you down. By taking GABA, it helps to increase that GABA. And I like mine only because it tastes like orange pixie sticks. You can chew it. And your children can take it. And it helps to make you feel better, just to get calmed down. The next one is your endorphins. The endorphins are your happy. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Legally Blonde, when she makes that comment, there's no way she could kill her husband because she exercises. Exercise causes endorphins. Endorphins make people happy. Happy people don't kill their husbands, right? That's what your endorphins do. When your endorphins are low, are hot, where they're supposed to be, you just feel like life looks brighter. When they're low, you look for something to comfort, reward, or numb you. Comfort, I want to feel love. Reward, I deserve this. And numbing, I just want to check out. And it's also the feelings of looking for love in places that isn't love, in things and in food. It's also feelings of crying easily and feeling extra sad. And it's also could be feelings of grief. Also, if you know somebody who is a cutter, then the reason they cut or self-harm themselves is because They are wanting that feeling. So they're either not feeling any emotion and they want to, so they'll cut, or they're feeling too much emotion and so they cut so that they feel some emotion. And what happens is when they cut, they release endorphins that makes you feel better. That's what happens. Also, you may crave things like sugar and starches, but it's also where the opiate addiction comes from. And what do I mean by that? Well, somebody could go in and not have a addiction for opiates, and they'll have surgery. The doctors give them an opiate, and they end up instantly addicted. It's almost like Russian roulette. It's like all of a sudden the brain goes, what just happened to me? And they become addicted. And because it's hard to get the opiate, they can turn to heroin, because heroin does the same thing. It's also where negative or destructive behavior comes from. What do I mean by that? I mean like excessive shopping, gambling, pornography, TV, social media, things like that we just want to numb out. Well, endorphins, by taking endorphins, it makes you feel better. This one's called DLPA happy. And that's what it does. It makes you happy. It gives you a little bit of energy, and it makes life a little bit brighter. Bring them together helps raise those endorphins. And the last one is your blood sugar. A lot of times we have what's called, I don't know if you ever heard of hypoglycemia, where you spike and then you drop and spike and drop, spike and drop. Well, what's going on is that your brain, either you're eating too much sugar or starches, or you're skipping meals, that your brain, when it wants some right that minute. So it's going to go to what it can get the fastest. A lot of times it can be sugar, starches. So what happens, your brain goes, I need something now. So I'm going to go and get some sugar or whatever. And so you take the sugar and it spikes you. And then your spike's so high and your brain's like, too much, too much, too much. So it puts off insulin and you crash. And then you're down here going, whoa, wait a minute. Too low, too low, too low. So it puts off adrenaline, which causes you to crave the sugar. And it just keeps this spiking thing. Spike and drop, spike and drop. So in the front of your brain is your prefrontal cortex. And when it's working right, you have your cognitive thought process. And it's, I'm going to do this, and this is the outcome. It's your willpower and your drive. When it becomes depleted, then you're looking for something. It shuts down that. It literally is starving and shutting down that part of your brain. You become irritable and irrational. That hangry feeling, right? And the irrational is, I'm going to make this choice. I could care less about the outcome. Now, for an addict, what that does is it throws out all their tools of how to stay clean and or how to stay away from drugs and alcohol, because their brain is like, I need this now. So glutamine is a brain cell food. Your body creates it. It's the one that it creates the most of. But the problem is it goes in all different places. It goes in your brain, it goes into your muscles, it goes into your stomach, because it actually helps with your stomach. So people say, well, why can't I just eat food to raise my neurotransmitters? Well, once your neurotransmitters have been depleted, then you eat the food and you don't get to say, hey, I need my brain fed right here. So what happens is it goes in, it goes into your brain, your body, and all these different places. And so there's not enough of it to raise the neurotransmitters. But by taking extra glutamine, and it's called Craving Be Gone, this one right here, Craving Be Gone, it helps you with those cravings. And it helps to keep your blood sugar level. Now, those are the four those are the six. And you first learned about it, I was angry. And I was so angry because this whole program was started in the 90s by a lady named Julia Ross. And I was so angry because my daughter was born in the 90s. And had I known about amino acids when I found out that she was struggling with anxiety and could have given her the amino acids instead, I really believe that she would not have had to self-medicate at 15 and turn to drugs and alcohol. Because what I learned about addicts is, first of all, they don't want to be one. Second of all, they're just self-medicating. And third, when they're abstaining from the drugs and alcohol because they have to, that doesn't mean they feel good. They're just white knuckling it. Really quickly, like my son-in-law said, is you can't really throw amino acid at people. You should really understand how they work. And that's why I studied them, and I spent a lot of time learning about these. I was so excited that I started sharing it with everybody, and I would just tell people, go to the health food store and buy amino acids. Luckily, I had a couple really great mentors, Tammy Anderson Ward, who puts the Energy Healing Conference on, and my friend Kristen Hicks, who I met at a Energy Healing Conference, the very first one I talked in Arizona, which I didn't know anything back then. I was just learning. Both of them at different times said to me, why are you sending everybody to Amazon and the health food store to get on amino acids? Why don't you have your own? And I thought to myself, I don't know. I didn't know that was possible. Did you know it was possible? I didn't know you could get your own amino acids. And within a month of that, I had them. I had found a place locally out of America Fork that I could buy. I could create them my own self. Shelly Joe amino acids, that's me. And the great thing about them is they're vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free, and they're 100% natural. And they do what they say, what I proclaim that they do. Yes, you can go buy them. You can buy them at Amazon. You can buy some at the health food store. FDA does not regulate supplements. So I'm not going to be able to tell you which ones are going to work and which ones aren't. I can't tell you that. Some of them work. Some of them don't have what they say they're going to work. Just to keep in mind. But they're amazing. Now the third part, really quickly, is feed your brain. Feed your body. There's such a connection between the body and the brain, especially when it comes to mental health, that what you eat really does matter. And we need to feed our body protein, 3 proteins a day, 3 veggies, and some good fats. By feeding your body what it needs, along with amino acids, it's going to help with those cravings to get them under control. Protein is so important. Your brain is 65% fat. It needs protein. By feeding both, that connection, it helps with your mental health. Another thing that's really important is that omega-3s are a natural antidepressant. So there are certain vitamins and minerals that help the absorption of amino acids better. I always suggest a multivitamin, a good B complex, especially B6, some magnesium, and a lot of times I'll also recommend some zinc. By getting those 2 in alignment, I don't have to tell somebody they can't have sugar, especially if they have cravings and they want to get off of, or they want to help their diet. I don't have to tell them that, because I know that by getting those in alignment, it's going to automatically help their cravings to go down. By taking all 3 of these, feed your brain with amino acids, feed your body with nutrition, and feed and change your thoughts with hypnotherapy, brings optimal health. I am passionate about what I do because I know it makes a difference. It helped my daughter. And if I can help somebody else's daughters, it would make a huge difference in their life. That's why I'm passionate. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have lots of different things that you can do to help yourself. I've got some these amino acids, which, because you're here watching this right now, you're going to get a 5% discount. You just go to my website, which is hypnoaminos.com, and you can get them 5% off of them, and the code is virtual energy. Also, anybody who orders and gets the amino acids after watching this or anything, you get this really cute little bag. It's a waterproof little travel bag you can put your amino acids in. There's also a video on there, a video series. If you go, I really want to learn how to work these for me, what do I need? You can get this whole series. I also do personal assessments that we can meet on Zoom. They're 30 to 40 minutes, and you can sign up for them on the website. You'll also get a percentage off of them. The other thing is, if you're like, I'm not really sure if this is for me, I have this. It's a pocket full of sunshine. I got a pocket full of sunshine. It's got a sample of all the amino acids in it, and you can get this, try them, and then decide, yes, this is what I want, and then you can order them. And there's a $10 gift card or discount in here that you can use that can make a difference for you. If you haven't done the code, please go online and fill out that code so that you can find out which of the amino acids may help you or some you love. Also, by doing that, you get on that code, I'm going to have a drawing, and I'm going to give a really cool gift away. Guys, thank you again. I am passionate like what I do because I've seen miracles. They're not magic. If you don't use them, they're just really wonderful, pretty supplements that sit on your shelf. But I have seen miracles. And if I can help you, please let me know. Reach out to me through text or through an email. You'll find them on my website. My email is shellyjohypno@gmail.com. Let me know how I can help you. Schedule an appointment with me. Schedule an appointment for hypnotherapy. I have sessions. I charge $125 for one, $399.99 for 4. They include an amino acid assessment with them. So you can choose to either do the amino acids and nutrition by themselves, hypnotherapy by themselves, or all 3 together. Whichever works, let me know. We can do them online through Zoom. Just let me know. In the meantime, life matters. Your life matters. I'm bringing healing and hope to you and the world. Shelly Jo with Shelly Jo Hypno Aminos. I am the amino acid lady and hypnotherapist. I also have classes for hypnotherapists and energy healers who want to add these 2 things, amino acids and nutrition, to your program. It's making a difference. We're changing lives. You can join us. Keep smiling. Mwah. Love ya.